And a beautiful Friday to you all who are joining us today for another Chattering Magpie read along. Welcome everybody. How is everybody? Excited? Ready for the weekend?
Ebullient.
Yeah.
Ebullient.
Someone's making big words.
Channeling her inner Anne, I see. How are you, Teal? Hello, Yukihime and Patrick, Little Butterfly, and Hirumi are joining me today for a read along here on the server. Happy to see you guys. And we also have peeps on the chat already, so let's say hello to the early gang, or early-ish gang. We have Yukihime, who was the very first one. Congratulations, Yukihime. Here, have a whole bunch of hearts. Says, hey, I hope I finished cooking before we start. Did you finish cooking, Yukihime?
No, I'm still cooking.
What are you cooking?
I'm doing cabbage stew with other vegetables and sausage.
Ooh.
And it's gonna be great in like an hour.
That sounds delightful. Yeah. Good. That's like comfort food. It'll be warm and delicious. And now I'm hungry. Thank you very much. I did ask though, so I did it to myself.
You're welcome. I'll post photos.
Yes, do so. Continue to torture all these hungry people who have not had lunch. That is me. Teal, have you had lunch? You're in the same time zone.
Sure haven't. Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Oh, okay. Well, let's fast together then.
Okay.
Little Butterfly, I think you're also in the same time zone as me, right? Or no? No, you're Midwest.
No, I'm a couple hours earlier. So
Okay.
I had breakfast just a little while ago, so I'm full.
Okay. Well, look at you. Well, I wish I could say the same. But anyway, you know what? It'll be fine. It'll make our minds sharper to read and enjoy today's read. Today's content. No, today's book. Yeah, I'm very focused, you guys. All right. So we had also Little Butterfly who said, hello. Hi. Happy to see you. Teal. Oh, look at you with your little badge. Says Anne's hair is red and Gables are green. And the new anime is the cutest I've seen. Oh, look at that. Flexing like no other. Teal, you got a gift. You should be a writer, girl. You really should. You can write anything you want, but it would be nice if we could get a continuation of Kintsugi. You know, chapter 3. No, I'm still...
I'll consider it.
Okay, fine. That's as much as we can get. It's okay. Okay, fine. By the way, you guys, I tend to be a very impatient person, but I got me a mentor figure kind of deal. And I was talking to him about, like, you know, sometimes things... not just the channel, but professionally, like, I'm like, things are not moving along. Things are not happening. What is going on, you know? And he very wisely said, you know, success is like a spectrum. Sometimes you get people and, like, you get your message out. And people are probably on a 0. But as long as you make sure that you move them from the 0 to, like, a 5 in a spectrum of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100, as long as you make a steady move from, like, smaller to greater, then that's what's important, because over time, you know, you're gonna move people along. So all this to say, I forgot what was my main point, but anyway, I think I do need calories. All that to say, just make small progress. It's good progress. So you go, Teal, and thank you for that beautiful bit of poetry. Also we have Noodles, Dumplings, Kimchi says, neat. Says, I can't believe my notifications actually worked. Welcome. Was it the X notifications or the YouTube notifications? Because I sent a message on both. Hopefully you got X as well, but doesn't matter. I'm just glad that your notifications worked, and welcome. And Hirumi says, hello, so happy for another read along. I'm happy that you're here too. Gang, I'm excited because it's Friday. I don't have any other plans other than going to a birthday party, but that's plenty for an introvert like me. What are you guys doing this weekend?
laundry, church stuff.
I'm going to visit my family.
Oh, sweet. Is it a long trip, or are they nearby? How is it?
It's like 1 hour and a half or 2 by train.
Oh, okay. That's sweet. I love train rides. I hope you enjoy it. Give them lots of hugs. Anybody else want to share their weekend adventures or stay-at-home adventures?
Cleaning the whole house.
Clean the whole house. I hope you
I'm
like
going to
cleaning,
help
because
I'm going to help out at church stuffing the Easter eggs with all the candy for next weekend.
Oh, nice. Yes. Easter is almost upon us. I believe this weekend is Palm Sunday too. So, yeah, and with all the candy, I hope you get to sneak in a few candies. So, I mean, if you're working and volunteering, I hope you can sneak in a little. Okay, I'm the type that would sneak in a candy, okay? Not many candies, but at the end of the day, I'd be like, where's the Reese's egg? Because me, I cannot pass up the opportunity for a Easter cup. Easter? No. Reese's egg.
I would too. Yeah. I was like, I'm here doing work. Let me just take a bite. Nobody will care that much.
Well, probably the children who will be missing out on on the candy, but what they won't know.
They will never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I just looked up what Palm Sunday is. What do you do for it?
I don't know. I'm not Catholic, but when I used to work at a Catholic church, yes, you guys, I've worked at many kinds of churches, and I used to work at a Reformed Catholic church. And I was part of the choir too. We were given these palm branches. We would just wave them and sing and wave. Anything else, Patrick?
So we get the palm branches, which are. It's kind of similar to how when Jesus came into Jerusalem, the people waved palm branches to welcome him as the Son of David. So this is the week leading up to Jesus being accused, week, right? and yes, this is leading up to his accusal, passion, and crucifixion.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
It's also Passover. He was going into Jerusalem for Passover.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
Can I share? Okay, for us Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox is a little bit different. So at least here in Romania, we call it the Sunday of the flowers. And the most important thing that day kind of is, I don't know the meaning, I'm sorry, but everyone who is named of a flower in any way, like any kind of Liliana or any kind of thing like that, gets a happy birthday, or at least our version of happy birthday. Because it's the name.
That's so sweet. Aww.
Well, happy birthday to our flower named people.
Yep. Whoever you are.
Yes.
Thank you. Those are really interesting things. I didn't know all of the traditions. So thanks for sharing. And by the way, Patrick also shared on the chat a little bit about Kintsugi, which is the title of Theo's fanfic, which I always poke at her for. Want an update. Kintsugi is a Japanese art of using gold lacquer to join broken pieces of clay, jars, bowls, etc. Beautiful, beautiful. I can already
I have a matcha bowl that I just bought on Amazon, which is made with that art. And it's beautiful.
Oh, I can imagine. Thanks for sharing. And here, have a whole bunch of hearts. And also, of course, thank you for supporting via Super Chat. Noodles Dumplings Kimchi says it was YouTube notifications. Awesome. YouTube is YouTubing right properly. Good. And Noodles also says, hey, Patrick. So say hello back when you're able to.
Hi, Noodles.
All right, you guys. So I think it's time we get started with today's read. It's been just the first 2 chapters that we read. We read Wednesday, first 2 chapters. Now we're.
Are you sure you don't want to fill up more time?
No, we're good. We're good. I just want to say hello to everybody. Thank you, though. Let's see. So today we're gonna be reading 2 chapters. Hopefully, we'll get through the 2 within an hour. If we have extra time, maybe we'll go to a 3rd one. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, whether we read 2 or 3, there's only 3 speaking rules. So these are the people that are going to be reading. Matthew is going to be read by Patrick. All of those long lines, yes.
Yes, I get to do so much reading.
Yeah. Marilla is going to be read by Teal. And Anne is going to be read by Little Purple Butterfly. And highlighters today, of course, we want to say thank you to both Teal and Haremy, who always do a fantastic job. Thank you for that. Oh look, Fuji Petals floating in the river is here with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so for those of you who have not read or weren't with us in the last live read, yes. Anne of Green Gables is basically an 1800... No. Book was written in 1908 by Lucy Montgomery. It's set around the late 1800s about a girl who was sent to an elderly brother and sister by mistake. They expected an orphan boy, but instead they sent an orphan girl. And they're like, what is this mix-up? Well, at least that's what's going to happen. Because the first chapter and the second chapter were just kind of setting the stage. And second chapter was Matthew, the elderly brother. He's like confused, but he can't just leave the girl in the train station. He has to bring her home. So he's gonna leave it to his sister to deal with the situation. Great job, Matthew. Nice. Leave the difficult job to your sister. But okay, we'll forgive him because he's Matthew and we love him. Okay, so now the next chapter we're going to read is now Marilla's turn to be surprised. So this is the chapter we're going to be reading. Marilla Cuthbert is surprised. Ready, gang? Ready. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Ready.
Let's do this.
I'll allow for me.
All right. Chapter 3. Marilla Cuthbert is surprised. Marilla came briskly forward as Matthew opened the door, but when her eyes fell on the odd little figure in the stiff, ugly dress with the long braids of red hair and the eager, luminous eyes, she stopped short in amazement.
Matthew Cuthbert, who's that?
She ejaculated.
Where is the boy?
There wasn't any boy,
said Matthew wretchedly.
There was only her.
He nodded at the child, remembering that he had never even asked her name.
No boy? But there must have been a boy,
insisted Marilla.
We sent word to Mrs. Spencer to bring a boy.
Well, she didn't. She brought her. I asked the station master, and I had to bring her home. She couldn't be left there, no matter where the mistake had come in.
Well, this is a pretty piece of business,
ejaculated Marilla. During this dialogue, the child had remained silent, her eyes roving from one to the other, all the animation fading out of her face. Suddenly, she seemed to grasp the full meaning of what had been said. Dropping her precious carpet bag, she sprang forward a step and clasped her hands.
You don't want me?
She cried.
You don't want me because I'm not a boy? I might have expected it. Nobody ever did want me. I might have known it was all too beautiful to last. I might have known no one really did want me. Oh, what shall I do? I'm going to burst into tears.
Burst into tears she did, sitting down on a chair by the table, flinging her arms out upon it, and burying her face in them. She processed to cry stormily. Marilla and Matthew looked at each other deprecatingly across the stove. Neither of them knew what to say or do. Finally, Marilla stepped lamely into the breach.
Well, there's no need to cry so about it.
Yes, there's need.
The child raised her head quickly, revealing a tear-stained face and trembling lips.
You would cry too if you were an orphan and had come to a place you thought was going to be home and found out that they didn't want you because you weren't a boy. Oh, this is the most terrible thing that ever happened to me.
Something like a reluctant smile, rather rusty from long disuse, mellowed Marilla's grim expression.
Well, don't cry any more. We're not going to turn you out of doors tonight. You'll have to stay here until we investigate this affair. What's your name?
The child hesitated for a moment.
Will you call me Cordelia?
She said eagerly.
Call you, Cordelia. Is that your name?
No. It's not exactly my name, but I would love to be called Cordelia. It's such a pretty, elegant name.
I don't know what on earth you mean. If Cordelia isn't your name, what is?
Anne Shirley.
Reluctantly faltered forth the owner of that name.
But, oh, please do call me Cordelia. It can't matter much to you what you call me if I'm only going to be here a little while. And can it? And Anne Shirley's such an unromantic name.
Unromantic fiddlesticks.
Said the unsympathetic Marilla.
It's a real good, plain, sensible name. You've no need to be ashamed of it.
Oh, I'm not ashamed of it.
Explained Anne.
Only I like Cordelia better. I've always imagined that my name was Cordelia. At least I always have of late. Last year. When I was younger, I used to imagine it was Geraldine, but I like Cordelia better now. But if you call me Anne, please call me Anne, spelled with an E.
What difference does it make how it's spelled?
Asked Marilla with another rusty smile as she picked up the teapot.
Oh, it matters. Makes much. Oh, it makes such a difference. It looks so much nicer when you hear a name pronounced. Can't you always see it in your mind, just as if was printed out? I can. And ANN looks dreadful, but ANNE looks so much more distinguished. If you only call me Anne, spelled with an E, shall try to reconcile myself to not being called Cordelia.
Very well then. Anne, spelled with an E. Can you tell us how this mistake came to be made? We sent word to Mrs. Spencer to bring us a boy. Were there no boys at the asylum?
Oh, yes, there were an abundance of them. But Mrs. Spencer said distinctly that you wanted a girl about 11 years old, and the matron said she thought I would do. You don't know how delighted I was. I couldn't sleep all night for joy. Oh, she
She added.
she added.
She added reproachfully, turning to Matthew.
Why didn't you tell me that at the station that you didn't want me and haven't excuse me.
Leave me there.
Yeah. And leave me there. If I hadn't seen the white way of delight and the lake of shining waters, it wouldn't be so hard.
What on earth does she mean?
Demanded Marilla, staring at Matthew.
She's just referring to some conversation we had on the road,
Said Matthew hastily.
I'm going out to put the mare in, Marilla. Have tea ready when I come back.
Did Mrs. Spencer bring anybody over besides you?
Continued Marilla when Matthew had gone out.
She brought Lily Jones for herself. Lily is only 5 years old, and she is very beautiful and has nut brown hair. If I were beautiful and had nut brown hair, would you keep me?
No. We want a boy to help Matthew on the farm. A girl would be of no use to us. Take off your hat. I'll lay it and your bag on the hall table.
Anne took up her hat meekly. Anne took off her hat meekly. Matthew came back presently, and they sat down to supper. But Anne could not eat. In vain she nibbled at the bread and butter and pecked at the crabapple preserve out of the little scalloped glass dish by her plate. She did not really make any headway at all.
You're not eating anything,
said Marilla sharply, eyeing her as if it were a serious shortcoming. Anne sighed.
I can't. I'm in the depths of despair. Can you eat when you're in the depths of despair?
I've never been in the depths of despair, so I can't say,
responded Marilla.
Weren't you, well, did you ever try to imagine you were in the depths of despair?
No, I didn't.
Then I don't think you could understand what it's like. It's very uncomfortable feeling inside. When you try to eat, a lump comes right up in your throat and you can't swallow anything, not even if it were a chocolate caramel. I had a chocolate caramel once 2 years ago, and it was simply delicious. I've often dreamed since that I had a lot of chocolate caramels, but I always wake up just when I'm going to eat them. I do hope you won't be offended because I can't eat. Everything is extremely nice, but I still can't eat.
I guess she's tired,
said Matthew, who hadn't spoken since he returned from the barn.
Best to put her to bed, Marilla.
Marilla had been wondering where Anne should be put to bed. She had prepared a couch in the kitchen chamber for the desired and expected boy. But although it was neat and clean, it did not seem quite the thing to put a girl there somehow. But the spare room was out of the question for such a stray waif, so there remained only the East Gable room. Marilla lighted a candle and told Anne to follow her, which Anne spiritlessly did, taking her hat and carpet bag from the hall table as she passed. The hall was fearsomely clean. The little gable chamber in which she presently found herself seemed still cleaner. Marilla set the candle on a three-legged, three-cornered table and turned down the bedclothes.
I suppose you have a nightgown?
She questioned. Anne nodded.
Yes, I have two. The matron of the asylum made them for me. They're dreadfully skimpy. There is never enough to go around in an asylum, so things are always skimpy, at least in a poor asylum like ours. I hate skimpy night dresses, but one can dream just as well in them as in lovely frilly ones with frills around the neck. That's one concession.
Well, undress as quick as you can and go to bed. I'll come back in a few minutes for the candle. I daren't trust you to put it out yourself. You'd likely set the place on fire.
When Marilla had gone, Anne looked around her wistfully. The whitewashed walls were so painfully bare and staring that she thought they must ache over their own barrenness. The floor was bare too, except for a round braided mat in the middle, such as Anne had never seen before. In one corner was a bed, a high old-fashioned one, with four dark, low-turned posts. In the other corner was the aforesaid three-cornered table, adorned with a fat red velvet pincushion, hard enough to turn the point of the most adventurous pin. Above it hung a little 6-by-8 mirror. Midway between the table and the bed was the window, with an icy white muslin frill over it, and opposite was the washstand. The whole apartment was of a rigidity not to be described in words, but which sent a shiver to the very marrow of Anne's bones. With a sob, she hastily discarded her garments, put on the skimpy nightgown, and sprang into bed, where she burrowed face downward into the pillow and pulled the clothes over her head. When Marilla came up for the light, various skimpy articles of raiment scattered most untidily over the floor, and a certain tempestuous appearance of the bed were the only indications of any presence save her own. She deliberately picked up Anne's clothes, placed them neatly on a prim yellow chair, and then, taking up the candle, went over to the bed.
Good night,
she said, a little awkwardly, but not unkindly. Anne's white face and big eyes appeared over the bedclothes with a startling suddenness.
How can you call it a good night when you know it must be the very worst night I've ever had?
She said reproachfully. Then she dived into invisibility again. Marilla went slowly down to the kitchen and proceeded to wash the supper dishes. Matthew was smoking, a sure sign of perturbation of mind. He seldom smoked, for Marilla set her face against it as a filthy habit. But at certain times and seasons he felt driven to it, And then Marilla winked at the practice, realizing that a mere man must have some vent for his emotions.
Well, this is a pretty kettle of fish,
she said wrathfully.
This is what comes of sending word instead of going ourselves. Richard Spencer's folks have twisted that message somehow. One of us will have to drive over and see Mrs. Spencer tomorrow. That's certain. This girl will have to be sent back to the asylum.
Yes, I suppose so,
said Matthew reluctantly.
You suppose so? Don't you know it?
Well, no, she's a real nice little thing, Marilla. It's kind of a pity to send her back when she's so set on staying here.
Matthew Cuthbert, you don't mean to say you think we ought to keep her?
Marilla's astonishment could not have been greater if Matthew had expressed a predilection for standing on his head.
Well, now, no. I suppose not exactly,
stammered Matthew, uncomfortably driven into a corner for his precise meaning.
I suppose we could hardly be expected to keep her.
I should say not. What good would she be to us?
We might be some good to her,
said Matthew, suddenly and unexpectedly.
Matthew Cuthbert, I believe that child has bewitched you. I can see as plain that you want to keep her.
Well now, she's a real interesting little thing,
persisted Matthew.
You should have heard her talk coming from the station.
Oh, she can talk fast enough. I saw that at once. It's nothing in her favor, either. I don't like children who have so much to say. I don't want an orphan girl, and if I did, she isn't the style I'd pick out. There's something I don't understand about her. No, she's got to be dispatched straight back to where she came from.
I could hire a French boy to help me,
said Matthew.
And she'd be company for you.
I'm not suffering for company,
said Marilla shortly.
And I'm not going to keep her.
Well now, it's just as you say, of course, Marilla,
said Matthew, rising and putting his pipe away.
I'm going to bed.
To bed, Matthew. No, to bed went Matthew. And to bed, when she had put her dishes away, went Marilla, frowning most resolutely.
Resolutely.
Let me start that. Yeah, thank you. Let me start that paragraph again. To bed went Matthew, and to bed, when she had put her dishes away, went Marilla, frowning most resolutely. And upstairs, in the east gable, a lonely, heart-hungry, friendless child cried herself to sleep. Chapter 4. Morning at Green Gables. It was broad daylight when Anne awoke and sat up in bed, staring confusedly at the window through which a flood of cheery sunshine was pouring, and outside of which something white and feathery waved across glimpses of blue sky. For a moment she could not remember where she was. First came a delightful thrill, as if something very pleasant, and then a horrible remembrance. This was Green Gables, and they didn't want her because she wasn't a boy. But it was morning, and yes, it was a tree, and it was a cherry tree in full bloom outside her window. With a bound, she was out of bed and across the floor. She pushed up the sash. It went up stiffly and creakily, as if it hadn't been opened for a long time, which was the case, and it stuck so tight that nothing was needed to hold it up. Anne dropped on her knees and gazed out into the June morning, her eyes glistening with delight. Oh, wasn't it beautiful? Wasn't it a lovely place? Suppose she wasn't really going to stay here. She would imagine she was. There was scope for imagination here. A huge cherry tree grew outside, so close that its boughs tapped against the house, and it was so thick set with blossoms that hardly a leaf was to be seen. On both sides of the house was a big orchard, one of apple trees and one of cherry trees, also showered over with blossoms, and their grass was all sprinkled with dandelions. In the garden below were lilac trees, purple with flowers, and their dizzily sweet fragrance drifted up to the window on the morning wind. Below the garden, a green field, lush with clover, sloped down to the hollow, where the brook ran, and where scores of white birches grew, upspringing airily out of an undergrowth, suggesting of delightful possibilities in ferns and mosses and woodsy things generally. Beyond it was a hill, green and feathery with spruce fir. There was a gap in it where the gray gable end of the little house she had seen from the other side of the Lake of Shining Waters was visible. Off to the left there were big barns, and beyond them, away down over green, low-sloping fields, was a sparkling blue glimpse of sea. Anne's beauty-loving eyes lingered on it all, taking everything greedily in it. She had looked on so many unlovely places in her life, poor child, but this was as lovely as anything she had ever dreamed. She knelt there, lost to everything but the loveliness around her, until she was startled by a hand on her shoulder. Marilla had come in, unheard by the small dreamer.
It's time you were dressed.
She said curtly. Marilla did not really know how to talk to the child, and her uncomfortable ignorance made her crisp and curt when she did not mean to be. Anne stood up and drew a long breath.
Oh, it's beautiful,
she said, waving her hand comprehensively at the good world outside.
It's a big tree, and it blooms great, but the fruit don't amount to much never, small and wormy.
Oh, I don't mean just the tree. Of course, it's lovely, yes. It's radiantly lovely. It blooms as if it means it. But I mean everything. The garden, the orchard, the brook, the woods, the whole thing. The whole big dream. Dream woods. Don't you feel as if you just love the woods on a morning like this? And I can hear the brook laughing and all the way up here. Have you ever noticed that cheerful things brooks are? They're always laughing, even in the winter time. I heard them underneath the ice. I'm so glad there is a brook near Green Gables. Perhaps you think it doesn't matter it makes any difference to me when you've not going to keep me, but it does. I shall always like to remember that there was a brook at Green Gables, even if I never see it again. If there wasn't a brook, I'd be haunted by the uncomfortable feeling that there ought to have been one. I'm not in the depths of despair this morning. I spent
I never can be.
splendid. Okay. Lost my spot a little bit here. I never can be in the morning. Isn't it a splendid thing that there are mornings, but I feel very sad. I've just been imagining that it was really me you wanted after all, and that I was to stay here for ever and ever. It was a great comfort while it lasted, but the worst of imagining things is that the time comes when you have to stop, and that hurts.
You'd better get dressed and come downstairs and never mind your imaginings,
said Marilla as soon as she could get a word in edgewise.
Breakfast is waiting. Wash your face and comb your hair. Leave the window up and turn your bedclothes back over the foot of the bed. Be as smart as you can.
Anne could evidently be smart to some purpose, for she was downstairs in 10 minutes' time, with her clothes neatly on, her hair brushed and braided, her face washed, and a comfortable consciousness pervading her soul that she had fulfilled all Marilla's requirements. As a matter of fact, however, she had forgotten to turn back the bedclothes.
I'm pretty hungry this morning,
she announced as she slipped into the chair Marilla placed for her.
The world doesn't seem such a howling wilderness as it did last night. I'm so glad it's a sunny morning, but I like rainy mornings rather well, too. All sorts of mornings are interesting. Don't you think? You don't know what's going to happen through the day, and there's so much space for imagination. But I'm glad it's not rainy today, because it's easier to be cheerful and bear up under our afflictions, and on the sunny days, if I feel that I have a good deal of bearing up, it's all very well to read about sorrows and imagine you're living through them.
Heroically,
but it's not so nice when you really come to have them, is it?
For pity's sake, hold your tongue. You talk entirely too much for a little girl.
Thereupon Anne held her tongue so obediently and thoroughly that her continued silence made Marilla rather nervous, as if in the presence of something not exactly natural. Matthew also held his tongue, but this was natural, so that the meal was a very silent one. As it progressed, Anne became more and more abstracted, eating mechanically, with her big eyes fixed unswervingly and unseeingly on the sky outside the window. This made Marilla more nervous than ever. She had an uncomfortable feeling that while this odd child's body might be there at the table, her spirit was far away in some remote, airy cloudland, borne aloft on the wings of imagination. Who would want such a child about the place? Yet Matthew wished to keep her, of all accountable things. Marilla felt that he wanted it just as much this morning as he had the night before, and that he would go on wanting it. That was Matthew's way. Take a whim into his head and cling to it with the most amazing silent persistency, a persistency 10 times more potent and effectual in its very silence than if he had just talked it out. When the meal was ended, Anne came out of her reverie and offered to wash the dishes.
Can you wash dishes right?
Asked Marilla distrustfully.
Pretty well. I'm better at looking after children, though. I have so much experience at that. It's such a pity you haven't any here for me to look after.
I don't feel as if I wanted any more children to look after than I've got at present. You're problem enough, in all conscience. What's to be done with you, I don't know. Matthew is a most ridiculous man.
I think he's lovely.
Said Anne reproachfully.
He is so very sympathetic. He didn't mind how much I talked. He seemed to like it. I feel that he was a kindred spirit as soon as ever I saw him.
You're both queer enough, if that's what you mean by kindred spirits,
said Marilla with a sniff.
Yes, you may wash the dishes. Take plenty of hot water, and be sure you dry them well. I've got enough to attend to this morning, for I'll have to drive over to White Sands in the afternoon and see Mrs. Spencer. You'll come with me, and we'll settle what's to be done with you. After you finish the dishes, go upstairs and make your bed.
Anne washed the dishes deftly enough, as Marilla, who kept a sharp eye on the process, discerned. Later on, she made her bed less successfully, for she had never learned the art of wrestling with a feather tick. But it was done somehow and smoothed down, and then Marilla, to get rid of her, told her she might go out of doors and amuse herself until dinner time. Anne flew to the door, face alight, eyes glowing. On the very threshold she stopped short, wheeled about, came back, and sat down by the table, light and glow, as effectually blotted out as if someone had clapped an extinguisher on her.
What's the matter now?
Demanded Marilla.
I don't dare go out,
said Anne in the tone of a martyr relinquishing all earthly joys.
If I can't stay here, there is no use in my lovely green. If I can't stay here, is no use in my lovely Green Gables, and if I go out there and get acquainted with all those trees and flowers and the orchard and the brook, I'll not be able to help loving it. It's hard enough now, so I won't make it any harder. I want to go out so much. Everything seems so to be so to call me. Anne, come out to us. Anne, we want a playmate, but it's better not. There is no use in loving things if you have to be turn from them. So there. And it's so hard to keep from loving things. Isn't it? That was why I was so glad when I thought I was going to live here. I thought I'd have so many things to love and nothing to hinder me. But that brief dream is over. I am resigned to my fate now, so I don't think I'll go out for fear that I'll get
Unresigned.
unresigned again. What is the name of the
Geranium?
Geranium.
geranium on the window seal, please?
That's the apple-scented geranium.
Oh, I didn't mean the sort of name. I meant just a name you gave it yourself. Don't you give it Didn't you give it a name? May I give it one then? May I call it, let me see, Bonnie? Would you would do. May I call it Bonnie while I'm here? Oh, do let me.
Goodness, I don't care. But where on earth is the sense of naming a geranium?
Oh, I like things to have
Handles.
handles, even if they are only geraniums. It makes them seem more like people. How do you know? But that it hurts a geranium's feelings just to be called a geranium and nothing else. You wouldn't like to be called things but nothing but a woman all the time, yes? I shall call it Bonnie. I named the cherry tree outside my window this morning. I call it Snow Queen because it was so white. Of course, it won't always be in bloom, but one could imagine that it is, can't one?
I never in all my life saw or heard anything equal to her.
Muttered Marilla, beating a retreat down to the cellar after potatoes.
She is kind of interesting, as Matthew says. I can feel already that I'm wondering what on earth she'll say next. She'll be casting a spell over me, too. She's cast it over Matthew. That look he gave me when he went out said everything he said or hinted last night over again. I wish he was like other men and would talk things out. A body could answer back then and argue him into reason. But what's to be done with a man who just looks?
Anne had relapsed into reverie, with her chin in her hands and her eyes on the sky, when Marilla returned from her cellar pilgrimage. There Marilla left her until the early dinner was on the table.
I suppose I can have the mare and buggy this afternoon, Matthew?
Said Marilla. Matthew nodded and looked wistfully at Anne. Marilla intercepted the look and said grimly,
I'm going to drive over to White Sands and settle this thing. I'll take Anne with me, and Mrs. Spencer will probably make arrangements to send her back to Nova Scotia at once. I'll set your tea out for you, and I'll be home in time to milk the cows.
Still, Matthew said nothing, and Marilla had a sense of having wasted words and breath. There is nothing more aggravating than a man who won't talk back, unless it is a woman who won't. Matthew hitched the sorrel into the buggy in due time, and Marilla and Anne set off. Matthew opened the yard gate for them, as they drove slowly, though, he said, to nobody in particular, as it seemed.
Little Jerry boat from the creek was here this morning, and I told him I guess I'd hire him for the summer.
Marilla made no reply, but she hit the unlucky sorrel with such a vicious clip with the whip that the fat mare, unused to such treatment, whisked indignantly down the lane at an alarming pace. Marilla looked back once as the buggy bounced along and saw that aggravating Matthew leaning over the gate, looking wistfully after them. End of chapter. All right, morning at Green Gables. We have Anne in a little bit of a higher spirits starting in the first chapter. No, when she wakes up. That's, I think, the second chapter. Let's start with the first one. When you read, you guys, do you see like a movie playing inside? And if you do, which adaptation is playing inside if you are doing an adaptation?
Well, if I have to pick one, it's the one that I'm familiar with, the new anime that has started.
The live action one.
Oh, the live action one is also a delight. I'm sure that there's also folks watching that are seeing the 1979 version. There's lots of cool ones out there, and with an E as well. I don't know actually which live action. Are you meaning Anne with an E or the Canadian
the older
broadcasting?
one?
Okay.
The older one, yes.
With Megan Follows, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I imagine everything being the Anne with an E cast and actors and everything and setting.
For me, the one that I'm more familiar with is the Anne, not the Anne with an E. It's the one with Megan Follows, the Canadian one from 1985, I think it is. So yeah. I was surprised when there was a line, I think it's from that one, where she asks, like, haven't you ever been in the depths of despair? And I was like, they're missing a line. But no, they added it into that other one, into the Canadian adaptation, where Marilla replies, no, I've never been in the depths of despair. To despair is to turn your back on God. I was like, oh, so I don't know. I actually did a document search. I was like, where is that line? Like, I know in my head they said it somewhere, but yeah, every adaptation has its own little thing. So by the way, we had Crusher in here for a bit. Said, just gonna let this play in the background at work. Crusher, if you're here, give us a sign. If not, it's okay. Say hello. Happy to see you. Yukihime also updated us with the cabbage stew. The progress ended up too spicy. Says you'll eat it with plenty of bread. Yeah, I think it should come out delicious. I like a little bit of a kick, not too spicy. But if you do, just
I like Hiremi's response. Call it training for Korean food.
Right. Yeah, I was surprised the first time I tried Korean food. I figured Mexicans had a monopoly in spicy food. Yes, I was that ignorant back then. So it was a long time ago. I hadn't yet tried Indian food or anything that might be spicy. So I was like, okay, well, I don't think... Yeah. Big mistake. There was a beautiful red stew with beef and like kimchi and rice.
Oh, red.
It was
Yep,
really,
yep.
really, really, really spicy, you guys. But it was also really,
Kimchi
really
jjigae?
good. Yeah. I learned my
I
lesson.
love me some kimchi.
Yeah. So
I'm not that great with spice, so I am preparing myself mentally for tomorrow when I will actually eat it. For now, I'm just glad it's finished. But it's okay. It's okay. Here we eat everything with bread, so like I'm just gonna eat a lot of bread with it.
Yummo. And I think, at least in my experience, when I cook something that's really spicy, by the next day it kind of has mellowed out. So it's spicier when you just make it. I feel. I don't know about you guys.
I don't
I've
know
never
about
even
that.
thought about that.
Yeah, or maybe it's my chilies, but they always mellow out a little. So it's not as bad. Let's see. Who else was on the chat? Hi, Remy. Yeah, there we go. Also, Patrick says, poor Anne, damned if she does, damned if she... Yeah, there's no winning, the poor dear. All she has to do is just put up with the uncertainty, and really can't be a very comfortable situation that she finds herself in.
Yeah, I love how she's pushing herself. Okay, I'm just gonna prove how useful I can be, and like you're gonna keep me, and like look, I can wash the dishes, I can do this, I can do that. I really love how she like takes it in stride and tries her best to like prove her worth and everything. It's very adorable.
Yeah, she's such a good kid. Man, she's such a good kid. I feel sorry that she went through the system. Like, I guess you could call it foster care system. And I don't know, like, I would hate to send her back, because she is just like man, like a rare kind of gem. I don't know how, but the world hasn't yet broken her, and I want to protect this kid. And I wonder at Marilla, you know, like, she's a practical, no nonsense woman, but man, I would be feeling so. I'd be feeling at this point like just like, oh man, I should really just give in. But no, Marilla she knows what's what, so there's no real softening at this point. But Matthew, on the other hand, what did you guys think about Matthew and how he's characterized here?
I mean, the last line, it didn't appear. I don't remember that line on the Netflix series or in the anime, and it's pretty telling that he said that if they are not going to adopt Anne, he's not going to adopt another boy.
Yeah, that could be seen as that, or maybe it's his last appeal too. Like, he's like, please, like I'm over, like, don't worry about like getting another boy or replacing her. Like, I already made arrangements, so just please keep her. Can I keep her?
Yeah.
I found it really funny also that says Marilla made no reply, but she hit the unlucky Sorrel. Such a vicious clip. Oh my god, poor thing.
I liked Teal's little question in the chat. Who had it worse in the end, Anne or the sorrel mare?
You're right. It's up to you guys to decide, but I don't know. Poor little creature. Poor big creature. Who knows? What do you guys think that it was?
I mean, me personally, I think Anne was able to talk Marilla's ear off, so she got a little payback. So I think in the end it was the mare.
The poor mare, yeah.
Yeah, in the end, Marilla is pulling out the buggies. They're going to Mrs. Spencer because she is being bewitched. She is softening on the inside, but she has this like defense mechanism where she starts to like resist against her own nature of starting to want to keep Anne, and is like, oh no, we got to get this done now, or we're definitely going to end up keeping her.
She's got that defensive logic, like, look, this is my reasoning, and she's not going to convince me otherwise. So let's just get this done.
Mm-hmm. Sure, Marilla, sure. You're not being bewitched. You already she says that Matthew is bewitched, but little by little Anne is getting into her. I mean, because she even said like, I'm even like, she caught herself wondering like, what's the next thing this kid is going to say? How is she going to surprise me? Yeah, Marilla. She doesn't know it yet, but she does need a Anne in her life. Just as Matthew kind of hinted, Matthew is very quiet, and I like how she drew him. Like he doesn't seem to have like many things that he ever asks for. He's kind of like a very quiet, kind of like does his thing. But when he actually wants something, he's as stubborn as anything. And this causes Marilla quite a lot of puts her in an uncomfortable position, because I doubt that he's ever wanted anything, or like when he does, it's very seldom. And I guess she's kind of like, man, like now I'm in this position because I kind of feel like he should have what he wants, maybe since he so seldom asks for things. But also on the other hand, having a child is it's not like he's asking for a puppy. He's asking for like an Anne. And that's having a child and bringing up a child is also a pretty huge thing too. Oh, by the way.
It's a big responsibility. I hope he's up for it.
Yeah, maybe they should have started. Okay, well, so here it goes. So the order it goes is you first get a plant. If you can keep the plant alive, then you get a puppy or a cat or something. If you keep the cat alive, then you can probably try a child, right? So, I mean, they have beautiful plants outside, so check. They have animals. They have the sorrel mare, at least. Well, let's ignore the treatment of the sorrel mare, but they do have the cows. They do have all the things. I'm sure they have chickens and pigs and whatnot. It's a farm. So check. Their animals seem to be okay. So, I mean, they've gone up the progression. Like, millennial me could never. As it is, I'm already struggling with my little rose. Somebody gave me a rose for December, and it's just not doing well. Like, overnight. Not overnight, but over the course of a week, it went from lush and beautiful to, like, I'm like, what's going on, Rose? Are you gonna die? So I'm, like, very worried. So I can't yet even think of keeping a pet, let alone a child. So... but they can, and they need her too. I think they need her desperately.
Yes, they need a pet. I mean, they need a Nan.
Right. By the way, Fergie is in the chat. At last, we got a Canadian here. Oh my gosh. Welcome, Fergie.
Oh, Canada.
And Fergie says, I had a bit of fish. I was the only one amongst my dorm whose pet lived past graduation. Ooh, good for you. Oh, betta fish. I also used to have a betta fish, and I'm not as imaginative as Anne when it comes to naming pets. So the family here called it Fishito. Fishito, like little fish, but I don't know. That's as imaginative as we get. We don't get Bonnies, we don't get Snow Queens, we don't get Fish of Shining Waters. No, just Fishito. Did you name your fish? What was the name? Haremy says, I had a betta fish as well. It died when my mom dropped the aquarium lid on the poor baby. No, poor baby. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I got the Rano treatment. Oh no.
Yeah, he survived. He survived for like a day swimming sideways. It was very sad.
Oh no. Oh,
yeah.
He was suffering. Oh. Well,
never again. Beto was the only fish I ever had.
That's so sad. Well, actually, I did have fish before when I was maybe like 5 or 6. We got some silvery fish. They were really cute. I don't know what they were. They weren't even goldfish. But then we were gonna go over on poor little animals. Okay, so they said you need to put like a something to aerate the water, oxygenate the water. So, but we were like, okay, how do we incorporate oxygen into the I'm sorry, you guys. How do we incorporate oxygen into this tank? It was like a beautiful little fish bowl. So rather than put a little thing, oh man, I remember this. My cousin stirred the water with a spoon, so you saw the little fish just kind of drifting in the whirlpool of water, kind of like going like, what's going on? And later on, we went on vacation for like a weekend, no, like 5 days or something, and we put enough food so it would last them for 5 days. Big mistake. Came back, they were dead, of course. Yeah. So.
Oh.
Yeah. By the way, Fergie says its name was Alpha. Oh, so okay. Alpha Beta. And if it had another friend, it would have been maybe Beta. The Beta. I don't know. Or maybe... what's after Beta? I forget. Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Sigma?
Charlie?
Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Sigma?
Delta.
Delta, Epsilon, whatever. Okay.
Sorry, I don't know the Greek alphabet.
I used to know it all. Dang it. It's been a long time since I went to college and had to deal with Greek letters. All right. So please excuse me. Double meaning, alpha to beta, Greek letter programming milestone joke. But also owned beta fish as a child, and we figured it was like my 5th fish, which makes him a Power Rangers reference in Alpha 5. Wow, that's
I like it.
That's a lot.
I like it.
That's a lot of thought into a name. Man, next time I need to name. Oh wait, I already did. One time I asked Fergie, name a character in my story, and he did. He very good at names. So guys, if you ever have naming needs, you know who to ask. Get Fergie or Teal, who is a poetess at heart and in reality. So. Either one of them.
So there's this YouTuber that I like to watch called Ants Canada, and he has all kinds of names for his critters.
Fuji Petals Floating in the River says, I have an imaginary service dog, but it shows up less the closer I get to a real one. Is that like an app? Like an app dog, or it's
maybe just her mental imagination? I don't know.
Huh. Okay. Oh, I see. Maybe you need the imaginary one the closer you actually get to getting a real one. Okay. Cool. By the way, I like those little apps. I guess it's because I was I came of age in the little Nano Pets era where you had your little Tamagotchi or whatever it was called. But I like those apps where you like feed your little pet and you pat it and then you get points and then you put it in a little ecosystem. It's very cute. I like those things. Didn't name them though, but don't name things. Okay. Thank you for clarification, Fuji. All right, so we got that chapter where Marilla is still in denial. She doesn't need Anne. Her house is, everywhere we see her house is in very tip-top shape, very clean, like clinically clean. We get Rachel Lynn had described her yard as being like the floor was clean enough to eat out of. Her kitchen is spotless and clean, oppressively so. Anne goes upstairs. She goes to the kind of a room that Marilla kind of never used before. Like she was like, we can't put her in the guest room because that's too fancy. So she put her in another room. But like, even though it hasn't been used, it's like ready to go. Like it's clean. It has all the things that she might need. It has covers and quilts and whatnot. So, yeah, Marilla has a lot of potential to make a home, but it just doesn't feel like a home yet. It just feels like a house, and it's being very, very effective, very efficiently being cleaned and everything, but it's not quite there yet. So I think the addition of Anne would help her, would help them too.
You're saying like a hotel room. It's like there's a bed, there's a drawing, but when you see it, nobody lives there really.
Right. It's very impersonal. So I'm sure like in time they could put like pictures or drawings or something. I don't know. But yeah, Marilla could benefit from a homely touch, like a homey touch, not homey touch. All right. Anything else about this chapters that we discussed, that we read today? Comparisons to the anime and the book. I guess we could talk about that a little bit, since we read most of, or at least half of the episode.
I mean, we know by the anime, we can kind of see that she is a chatterbox. She talks a lot, but reading it on the book, we're like, oh, okay, she really likes to talk.
And I don't know if you guys have you guys watched one? Maybe I won't even ask this question because it might turn out to be embarrassing. But in the video I released that compares or that brings up, I did like a episode review and I bring up some stuff that from the novel which I found more interesting and kind of to compare it. But it was interesting to see how Anne can keep quiet. Like that's not just her only trait. She can keep quiet. It's not easy, but when she does, it's actually kind of weird. Marilla is just kind of like observing the child. I kind of imagine like out of the corner of her eye, and she's like, there's something really creepy about this kid when she's quiet. Like she's just kind of like not there. Like her body's there, but not her mind, not her soul.
Yeah, it's an interesting reaction to be sure. Like, okay, I thought she was bad when she was talking. Now it's even worse.
Make up your mind, Marilla.
Working with kids, if things are silent, there is something wrong because they are doing something. So, yeah. Yeah.
Very, very wise words, but I don't know. Marilla, you got your work cut out for you, darling. So you just don't know it yet.
It seems the conventional wisdom back in this day was kids were to be seen, not heard.
Yeah. Good luck with that. All right.
And they wonder why they had hysteria.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we've come quite a long way since then when it comes to expressing and things like that. Like back then, like emotions are bad. You just ignore them or do something about it. But yeah, don't deal with those things.
Emotions. I don't have those stupid little things.
Tell that to Marilla. I think that she could benefit from a little bit of a shake-up in her life, and I think it came just at the right time. So, all right. So, sorry. Was anybody else going to say anything?
No.
Okay. All right, darlings. Guess what? It is 2 hours after my lunchtime, so I'm gonna go out and eat lunch. Since Yukihime talked about the stew, I may go and make myself a soup or something. Maybe a miso soup. But anyway, I had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much to everybody who read. Where's my little list? I don't remember who read, apparently. All the 3 people we had today reading. Matthew was read by Patrick. Marilla was read by Teal, and Anne was read by Little Purple Butterfly. Thank you so much, you guys. Yay. And to the highlighters who also did the highlighting, that was Teal and Hirami. I hope you guys join us on Wednesday for the next read along. It's going to be Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, as always. And yes, we will continue reading in this channel. And yes, I will continue to cover the rest of the Anne Shirley episodes. So it's 24 of them, you guys, and it has been confirmed. I went to the website. It does confirm they're gonna cover 3 books. So Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, and Anne of the Island. So I'm excited because there's some things that happen in Anne of the Island that I'm excited for it. All right. Was it Anne of the Island? Oh, great. Or is it? Did I get the wrong one? I don't know. I think that it's a good book. A lot of stuff happens. Anyway, don't mind me. I'm just thinking out loud. Yes, Fergie, it is a double core. It is a double core and double core. It's 24 episodes. Yes. So I'm excited for that, you guys. That does mean that I'll have my hands full, you guys, because I want to be as in-depth as possible with those episode reviews. All right, you guys. I think that's all. Remember, if you want to support this channel, hit that join button. If you hit that join button, it won't immediately, force you to sign up. It'll just show you the options. So if you want to know what's that all about, what membership offers, just click in there, be curious, click on the button. It won't do you any harm. Become a member and join us here over on the Discord.
Join us.
Yeah, we're actually announcing we are gonna have a watch party on Sunday, and immediately that's a Anne Shirley watch party on Sunday, and immediately after that, I don't know how we're gonna do it. We'll probably take a little break, but we are going to be watching the 1995 adaptation of Pride and Prejudice to get us started for my newest crossover fanfic, Pride and Prejudice and Bookworms. So do join us for that. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be 5 hours of just hanging out, laughing, and judging Mr. Darcy. It'll be great. I think you'll have fun. So hop on over to the Discord server if you are interested in that, or if not, just meet us here on Wednesday again. All right, gang. I hope you all have a great week. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you then on Wednesday or wherever. Bye, everybody. Say bye-bye, gang.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, gang.
Adios.